All right, folks, we're going to be here. We're going to try to make an attempt to do a bench test of a Greddy Profec B-Spec 2 boost controller. All right, so first things first, let's just check to make sure it's able to turn off and on. All right, so we're going to go over here, got a little Radio Shack 15 amp power supply. Let's go ahead and shut that off. Okay. All right. So as you can see here, what we did, we just did a mock wiring. All it needs is ignition power, but what I did, I just put a 10 amp fuse in between the hot side, and then it just gets wired straight to the Radio Shack power supply. And then the next thing is the other side, which goes straight to the boost controller. A green and white cable. It goes all the way here. It's all wrapped up here. Then it pigtails out to the solenoid. Okay, so that's just a close-up shot right there. So on the solenoid, if you're going to be running an actuator, that's what this is set up for. You have a, let's see if we can get focus a little bit better. You got a COM port, which is right here, and then you have an NO port, which is actually right here. If you follow along, the NO port would actually have its feed off of one of the turbos compressor side, or the hot side, and then that would actually essentially induce airflow towards the boost controller. At some point, the boost controller is able to determine how much air is being exerted, or the pressure being exerted to the controller, and what the controller's job is to do is to level that pressure of what's going into your intake and balance that to open up your actuator. So this right here is where you hang off your actuator. This is all a mock-up, folks. I apologize for all the the hasty wiring, but basically the tail end from the COM port will go directly to your actuator. So for here, just have it's a video adapter. I was just trying to just show the relationship. The air will actually come out here and open up your actuator, but we're going to try to see if we can get this spinning. Maybe not, who knows. So on this end, basically I just have a vacuum measure or gauge, and it's just, you're just going to see the needle jump a little bit as we add some manifold pressure to it. Oh yeah, that's my pump, by the way. Shut this off right now. So as you can see right here, the pump is set to just under 20 psi. It won't actually reach that because the piping is just so small, but it's going to give us about that much of force. It won't be volumized, but it's the best we can get just for right now, just for this quick mock-up. Okay, so now going back to the controller. The boost controller, it also has a port on the back in which you would tap into your manifold. So from here, basically we're just doing a Y. The Y assumes that this is coming off the compressor. The compressor pushes the air essentially to your manifold. So we're going to resemble this tapping into the manifold, and this feed right here is what we're going to actually make. So here's my little air compressor. I'm just going to blow some air just under maybe 10 or 15 psi in hopes of or basically just trying to represent the compressor wheel pushing or creating the air to get pushed to the solenoid. The solenoid is either going to open and close and balance that based on your settings here on your boost controller. So it will send the actuators to open up. It's going to push air, open up the actuator, and hopefully your turbos get spooled up and everything. So this is all a very hasty mock-up. I apologize. So let's just, check for the basic vitals. So right now, I'm going to switch the power to on 3, 2, 1. Okay, so that's what it's going to boot up to. All right, and now we're just going to flip through the settings. Right here you have the gain set at 20%. This is set gain. This is your start boost. Basically, I'm saying open up at 2 psi. These are all real low numbers because a markup setup like this, you kind of just got to be careful. Set gain. The warning is at 11 psi, and the low, level is at 20%, but the warning's at 110 through 120, or 11 psi, and cut off completely at 12 psi. So if we are just flip through all of these, here's the functionality. It appears that the boost controller is functional, as well as you also have the dial. The dial works as well. So okay, so now that we've gone through that, what we're going to do is I'm going to set the camera right up here, and we're going to see what happens. It should do a lot of clicking and carrying on, but that's just for the mock-up of trying to resemble the airflow getting pushed to the solenoid. So let's take a few shots of air and see what happens. Okay, so you hear that clicking? Alright, so right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn up the air on my air compressor, see if we can get a little better reading. Let's try to back out all this stuff. I'm going to raise the gain up to maybe 30. Oops. Alright, so I believe right now it's reading a -1, so let me turn up the air compressor a little bit. See if we can get some numbers jumping. Okay, so you see that just in there. At least the warning is actually doing some reading. But we're not getting a big reading over there on our little vacuum gauge. So I'm going to assume there is some tension on the actuators. So I'm going to put my thumb over top of where the actuator actually sit. So right over here, you used to see the needle over here jump up a little bit, just resembling the airflow passing through. We're just testing the solenoid to make sure that either it's able to push air or back off based on the settings that you have. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. So now I have it fully closed. So now that you just saw the needle jumping all over the place. So let's just put a slight cover over the hole. So essentially, you should see the air being jumped back and forth. But again, there are leaks, all types of leaks in this. So you can see some fluctuation in the solenoid. So at least it tells you enough that your solenoid is working. So that's about as best I could do. Hope you guys all enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon.